Hi, we're sitting here right now in these weird blue chairs with Monica Zinn, a
Hi.
documentary filmmaker.
That's right.
What got you into documentary filmmaking? Because I'm sure that's not something a lot of people aspire to do.
I don't think I ever saw myself making documentaries until I made my first one. I was in the Fairfax Academy television production class, and we had a senior project to do, and I was having trouble filming this narrative that I had written, and I just wasn't really interested in it. And then, I spent a lot of time on the internet, and I was looking at Tumblr, and one of my close friends had posted this kind of haunting, almost like journal entry about her struggle with eating disorders, and I had just never heard that side of it. Like, I had only ever really seen sensationalist depictions of it, and just heard what people would say about it. And so for me, I contacted her and I was just like, this is beautiful. Like, I had never really thought about eating disorders in this way. And so then it kind of just became this, journey between the both of us, figuring out, how we want to share this message. And, I had kind of said, would you be willing to, I've never made a documentary before, would you be willing to be in this documentary about eating disorders? We can make it whatever, we want to be, because, and I think she felt comfortable because, we were close friends and I was her age, and she knew that she was going to have some control. I mean, she's the narrator of the piece. So that was the first one that I had made, and two of my other friends were in it. And then after that, I was just kind of hooked.
One confession. I don't want to confess to anything. I don't want to confess my secrets because they're supposed to be mine. The more time I spend looking around me, and I mean really looking around me, the more people I see with disordered eating, or plain old eating disorders. I hate when people hear eating disorder and they automatically assume that the person in question has stopped eating or resorted to throwing up, because that's not what it's all about. For starters, you aren't considered anorexic until you meet certain medical and psychological standards. And bulimia isn't just throwing up. Bulimia can also be characterized by abusing medication like diuretics and laxatives, and exercising compulsively, and fasting to try and compensate for overeating. And if you are throwing up, then it isn't medically classified as bulimia unless a binge purge happens at least twice a week for 3 or more months. And then there's EDNOS, or eating disorder not otherwise specified. Basically, this is the category where you get stuck when you don't fully meet the standards to have a specific diagnosis. My confession is that I don't remember what it feels like to go through a day acting normal about food.
Won a few awards for, right?
Mm-hmm. It won Best Documentary at the Virginia Student Film Festival, and it screened at 7 film festivals across the country, including Santa Cruz Film Festival, Albany Film Festival.
Did you make it to all of them?
No, I got to go to 3 or 4, and 2 of them I got to go to with Shannon, which was so rewarding. I mean, that was probably my favorite, was being able to go with her, because we just got to talk about the journey, and after the film was completed, she actually got help for the first time. She had never really told anyone about what was going on, and so it was so rewarding to be able to go with her, once she had kind of sought help and everything, and be able to be like, wow, look at how far I've come, and so that was really special.
And you're doing one similar now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're working on, is it the same one? Is it an extension of the same idea?
Sort of. My friend who had been struggling with eating disorders also struggled with non-suicidal self-injury, and that was something that I had never really understood, but I think that scared me more than the eating disorder part. And so, I mean, during that we had kind of, spoken about that too, so I had gotten a little bit of exposure to it. And then after Perfection was finished, and Perfection went to these film festivals, and Shannon and I were meeting people face to face who had, just watched the film, and they were crying and were so affected by it because they had gone through similar struggles. I was kind of just blown away by how powerful this medium is, because it's right there in front of you, and then you can go up and meet the character and the director and everything. And so after that, I was just well, I I knew nothing about, non-suicidal self-injury. And the documentary that I'm working on now, Self-Inflicted, about non-suicidal self-injury, the mission kind of has 3 parts, and that's to educate, raise awareness, and let self-harmers know that they're not alone. And it's been that mission ever since the creation of the project, and we've kind of stuck with that. But because it is such sensitive subject matter, and a big reason we also are making the film is because there's nothing like self-inflicted out right now. And so one of the things I like about filmmaking is if you see like a gap in the media that you consume. So I watch a lot of documentaries and I watch a lot of like YouTube about like mental illness and stuff like that. As of now, it's really hard to find comprehensive information about non-suicidal self-injury and safe spaces to talk about it. So that's what we're trying to create with Self-Inflicted, is kind of, open up this discussion, but kind of give everyone, like, let's cover the bases, like it's not about suicide. It's, it's a way to deal with emotional distress. It's a coping mechanism like all of us have. And it's like, once we cover those bases, I feel like the discussion is just going to be way more, two-sided, because it's more like, oh, this is how you deal with your issues, and, this is how I deal with mine, and like, let's talk about it. So that's what I think is a really important thing about Self-Inflicted.
When I first found out about my sister's self-harm, I didn't understand at all why she would want to hurt herself. And I try to understand why it makes her feel better, but it's a hard concept to grasp if you're not the one feeling it. And it's just sad because I don't know how to help her with it. But I don't want to overstep my boundaries with it. Self-harm has always made me sort of squeamish, because I personally I've never really understood it, but I guess some people feel the need to do it, and it sort of makes me sad, because there's other ways to deal with your pain, and sometimes I just don't know how to deal with people who do self-harm, because I don't know what they're feeling or why they feel the need to self-harm.
So you actually had a pretty 21st century way of gathering up money for your new adventure. How did you go about doing that again?
So we used the crowdfunding site Indiegogo, which is similar to Kickstarter, except with Indiegogo, if you don't raise enough to your goal, you can keep the funds.
Because with Kickstarter, if you don't reach your goal, you lose all of it, right? And all the money is returned.
And so that was very terrifying to me, because I thought, although we need, our goal was $7,000, although we need $7,000, I'll try and make it work with whatever we can get. And we ended up actually raising over our goal, and so that was great. I mean, Indiegogo was a great platform, not even just to crowdfund, but to get people like excited about the project and to get people like knowing about it. And it also forced me to kind of pump out a lot of content during those 2 months. So we did like 4 like teaser trailer type things, and we were pumping out just so much content for people, because I wanted people to know, like, this is what me and my team can do when we have the resources. So that was great. And also the Indiegogo campaign got us a lot of media coverage with like Washington Post and Wired magazine.
Wow.
And things like that, because crowdfunding is like really trendy right now.
And you're on the front page of the site for a while, right?
Yeah, we were on the front page of Indiegogo for a little bit.
I donated.
Yes, you did.
Are you happy for me?
Yes, I am happy for you.
I'm happy for you. Well, it's so hard to get a film up and going now, and especially with a low budget, it really has to be a really skeletal type of crew, right? Who do you work with?
So that's changed over the 2.5 years. So I'm the director, producer, and editor. My good friend and colleague Michael Potter is a co-producer and co-editor. So he's the one I work most heavily with. Like, we have production meetings and we kind of talk about, because we have all of our interviews, we just have like a couple more things to shoot, like B-roll and like reenactments and stuff. And he shoots a lot of that too, so he's also like a cinematographer for the films. Like, everyone kind of is like a jack of all trades. And then, my little sister Megan and Brian also help out on the film. They've been production assistants, and Lauren Kristen, who's an amazing artist based in New York,
photographer, right?
Yeah, she does cinematography for us, and she's actually never really done video, and so it's really cool to work with her because I mean, she's so talented, and so she works with the film. For a while, we had a graphic designer, Connor Gillette, did all of our graphic design. So it's kind of like we don't have like a set crew, but different people help all the time because no one's getting paid. So it's kind of like donating your time and your work and your talents, and so it'll be a long list of credits for sure.
I've known you for almost 10 years, and you've always seemed like you wanted to help people in some way, right? Mm-hmm. So where did you get started with this? Obviously can reach out to people, it can help people in a lot of ways, letting them know they're not alone, there's something they could do about it. What started you on wanting to help people?
My parents were missionaries.
Really?
And I was born in Costa Rica, like during like mission work. So, and then
during the work time.
So then, and my little sister was born in Honduras. So for the first, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years of my life, we were in like a third world country, and my dad would fly medical supplies to remote villages.
Wow.
And you know, not that I really like remember that, but I think that that does have like a very big impact on you, because I mean that was like my first experience of like the world as a child. And then even after that, even when we moved back to the States and everything, my mother's always been very like altruistic, and not in this kind of like phony way, like always just this very like, you know, you should always want to like help people, like, you know, don't, you know, be so like self-centered and everything. And actually growing up, I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to act and sing, and then it transformed into, oh, I want to write. But then like I started making documentaries. It was something I never really thought that I could do, and it kind of combined like everything that like I'm good at, which is like talking to people, and then, you know, filmmaking and helping people, and kind of having, because you have to have like this strong like core, or else you'll kind of get distracted from why you're making the piece.
You're at USC right now in LA,
yes.
right? Is any of the other crew members in California with you during the school year?
No, actually we don't have anyone in California helping out on Self-Inflicted.
But you're back in Virginia, Northern Virginia now for the whole summer, right? Is this going to be when you get a lot of the work done, or? So
we're heavily in post-production, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we get the film done by the end of the summer.
I'm really excited.
I'm excited too. And
at school you're majoring in what?
Communications.
Oh, okay.
So so it's the Annenberg School of Communications, and a lot of people like ask like why I'm not in film school, but most film schools are on a narrative film track, and communication programs are like journalism and like sociology and like that, like, and like communication based. Yeah. So those types of things are way more beneficial to me to like learn about the world, learn about how different people communicate, how people like talk, like, you know, to themselves, because when I'm interviewing, I'm kind of having to, especially people like I have only known for a little bit, I'm having to get them to talk about like their most personal, deepest, darkest secrets. I know, I have to get all this stuff out of you. I've only known you for a decade. On camera, and it's crazy. I'm a lot more comfortable doing the interviewing than I am answering questions. Really? Yeah. Do you want to switch seats? Like, you're connected to that one. So just pretend you're interviewing me, okay? Oh, okay. So Dylan, how long have you been doing frameworks? Not too long. You can tell, right? Well, is there a website we can give to these 4 viewers at home? Yes, it's www.monicazinn.com, and there's a self-inflicted tab, a perfection tab. You can check out all my work, and there's actually a contact me tab. So if you want to just like shoot me a note and you know, tell me, like on the thing it's like tell me your story, and so people like just send in their stories. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us today. I can't wait to see the film.